Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really big one, environmental pollution. We're going to cut through all the noise and get straight to what it is, where it's coming from, and, maybe most importantly, what we can actually do about it. So let's start with a kind of big idea. Forget all the charts and data for just a second. What if we think of pollution as a message? A pretty loud one, from our planet, telling us something about the path we're on. So the big question is, are we actually listening?
Okay, so first things first. You can't really tackle a problem if you don't know what it is, right? So let's get down to basics. What exactly is environmental pollution?
So at its heart, pollution is just contamination. It's when nasty, harmful stuff gets into our air, our water, our soil, and starts causing some serious damage. A good way to think about it is like a poison getting into the planet's bloodstream. It doesn't just affect one little part, it impacts the whole system, and that includes us.
All right, so we've got our definition down. Now, let's get a little more specific. See, pollution isn't just this one giant messy problem. It actually comes in a few different forms. So let's break down what those main types are.
And looking at it like this is super helpful. You've got the stuff we can literally see and smell, right? Like smog hanging over a city or chemicals clouding up a river. But then you've got something like noise pollution, which is totally invisible, but a major stressor in our modern world. And you'll notice each one has its own sources, from huge industrial plants all the way down to the traffic just outside your window.
And here's where it gets interesting. Even though these types of pollution seem different, a lot of them come from the same places. See the pattern here? Industrial emissions, car exhaust, burning fossil fuels. These are pretty much the engines of our modern world, and they're all leaving a massive footprint on our air, our water, and our soil.
Okay, so we've defined it, we know where it comes from, but so what? What does it actually do? Why does this matter so much? Well, let's dive into the consequences.
In this slide, wow, it really nails the problem. It's like we're fighting a war on two separate fronts at the same time. On one hand, the damage is incredibly personal. It hits our own health. And on the other, it's planetary. It's messing with the huge global systems that literally keep us all alive.
Let's stick with that personal side for a second. The pollutants in our air and water can cause some really severe health problems. We're talking about things like respiratory diseases, think asthma, but also chronic eye irritation and even a higher risk of cancer. This stuff isn't some abstract concept. It's about our bodies and our health. Okay, so now let's zoom out from our bodies to the entire planet. How can a few invisible gases actually warm up a whole world? It sounds kind of crazy, but the science is crystal clear. And this is the big one you've probably heard of, the greenhouse effect. Basically, certain gases, especially CO2 from burning fossil fuels, act like a big, invisible blanket wrapped around the Earth. Now, this blanket lets the sun's heat in, which is good, but it doesn't let enough of it back out. So over time, all that trapped heat just builds up, and the whole planet's temperature starts to rise. That's global warming. And that's not all. Here's another really scary consequence. You've got these industrial pollutants, right? Things like sulfur dioxide and nitrogen dioxide. They get released, float way up into the atmosphere. And up there, in the clouds, they mix with water and have a chemical reaction. And what comes down? Acid rain. It's just as bad as it sounds, and it can absolutely wreck entire forests and poison lakes.
And one more big environmental impact: ozone depletion. So think of the Earth as having its own natural sunscreen. It's this layer of ozone gas way up high that protects all of us from the sun's really harmful UV rays. But there are these chemicals, CFCs, that we used to use in things like refrigerators and spray cans. They drift up there and literally start breaking down the ozone, punching holes in our planet's protective shield, and that leaves us all way more exposed.
Okay, I know that was a lot. And it's really easy to hear all that and feel kind of hopeless, right? But here's the good news. And it is good news. It's not a lost cause. We actually have a pretty clear path forward. The solutions are out there, and they basically fall into two big buckets: prevention and control. So prevention is all about stopping pollution before it even starts. And this is our toolkit. We're talking about big things like switching to renewable energy, wind and solar, but also things we can all do, like planting more trees, which are amazing natural air filters. And of course, the classic 3 Rs: reduce, reuse, recycle. Even just using public transport more often. Every single one of these choices helps chip away at the problem.
But it's not just about prevention. We also have some really smart technology to control the pollution we're already creating. Think about it. Catalytic converters in our cars, they literally clean the exhaust before it leaves the tailpipe.
Factories can use these huge things called industrial scrubbers to filter their smoke. And wastewater treatment plants do exactly what they sound like. They clean up our water before sending it back out into the environment.
So, what's the big takeaway from all this? Well, it's that the problem is serious, for sure, but it's absolutely not unsolvable. We get the causes, we see the effects, and we literally have the tools, both personal and technological, to fix it. Which really just leaves us with one final huge question. We have the roadmap. So, where do we go from here? That's a choice that's really up to all of us.